Tribe? Happy Tuesday. Coach D coming at you with a really quick weekly rundown. I wanted to do kind of a frequently asked questions slash Q&A kind of thing for this. With the program change that took place maybe a month and a half ago, there's been some common questions that have been arising, and I'd like to answer those for you and maybe clarify a few things. Again, the response to the program change has been overwhelmingly positive, but I know it's a little bit different. Sometimes when we change things, that doesn't come without issues, questions, and concerns. So let's jump into it. And the first thing I wanted to discuss was the daily workouts versus benchmarks. So as it's now very obvious which workouts are just your standard work of the day, where it doesn't have a name, it's just a MetCon. It'll tell you, hey, 3 rounds for time of this, this, and that. That is that day's work, and we're going to track it for that day. There's an intended stimulus that we'd like to meet. There are built-in progressions throughout the weeks and months so that you are getting the proper response and hopefully seeing the results that we're intending you to. But those workouts aren't necessarily meant to be tracked to come back to later on. The benchmarks are the ones that have a name. So now if you see a name 9 times out of 10, that is going to be a benchmark that we will come back to and repeat on occasion. And those are the ones that you're going to track your fitness with over time, if that makes sense, or be able to kind of look back and see how you've been progressing. With that, it's still important to track everything on a daily basis. We're going to have certain components. So we might have a clean and jerk prior to the conditioning, and then the conditioning might have clean and jerk stuff in it. It's important to put those results for that lifting, because when we do have a MetCon come up the next week, you want to look at those clean and jerk results from the week previously, not the MetCon. It doesn't matter if you look back on a MetCon, because every MetCon is going to be a little bit different. The stimulus is different. The sets and reps are different. So to always look back at past MetCon results doesn't really benefit you the way you might think that it would. Another thing is, in the daily programming, you can kind of relax a little bit. Doesn't mean don't work hard, but you can relax when it's just a standard MetCon. And what I mean by that is sometimes we might need to make tweaks to certain movement standards or requirements so that it flows better for the class. Sometimes you might have to wait 10, 20 seconds to be able to get on a rower because it's being used by someone else. And that's okay, don't panic. It's not a benchmark workout. You're there on a daily basis to improve your fitness, to improve your skills, to get stronger, faster, get your heart rate up, and spend time with the community. You're gonna be able to do that. We'll make sure that it happens. If we're doing a benchmark workout, that is important that you're able to do that straight through to be able to see progress over time. We're going to make sure on benchmark days that the class flows properly, that things are staged appropriately, so that everything flows the way it should, so you have a true, accurate depiction of your progress over time and can track over time. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense. Now, named workouts and tracking past results. I kind of talked about this a little bit. But I want to clarify some more. In the past, over the past year and a half or so, every MetCon had a name. It was completely irrelevant 90 to 95% of the time. Most of the names had nothing to do with trackability. It was only about having fun, kind of playing with the theme. Maybe there was certain workouts that were paired together, movements paired together, and so it was kind of like a boat race or something, right? So we had a workout called Boat Race. Those weren't intended to be benchmarks, and so it got confusing because you guys didn't necessarily know what was a benchmark and what wasn't, and what could be repeated and what wouldn't. But the reality is only about 5 to 10% of the workouts that we did during that period of time were repeated benchmark workouts. Now we've clarified that. If it has a name, it's a benchmark. If it doesn't, it's not. You still want to track that, and you still are going to look back at certain movements and things like that. But it's the benchmarks that matter. So hopefully that's a little bit more clear to you and causing you a little bit less anxiety and things of that nature. With that, really quick too, let's say we're doing a workout that's got, again, we'll use clean and jerks, double unders, and 400-meter run. Where you don't want to look is the last workout that had clean and jerks and say, what did I do on that workout? Where you need to look is your record of clean and jerks, because the coach is going to give you the intended stimulus and things like that for that. So you let's say sets and reps could be totally different, but sometimes we use percentage. Hey, ideally you would be working in this MetCon at about 50% of your clean and jerk 1 rep max. Or again, a weight that you could move 7 times unbroken, or 20 times breaking maybe once, something like that, right? It's gonna be relative to the day, first of all, but that's gonna come from your actual clean and jerk numbers, not an arbitrary MetCon. And so again, that shouldn't be where you're looking past MetCons. A benchmark's different. Repeating a benchmark, yeah, you absolutely want to look at your last result for that, because it's going to be relevant to what you're going to do this current time around. So again, just a little bit more on standard MetCons versus named benchmark workouts. Another thing I wanted to touch on really quick is movement standards. Some of the nomenclature on things is a little bit different than what we did before. The main reason is we're trying to be more intentional about the names we're using and more clear. So I'll try to use an example. Burpees. There's been some questions about burpees, specifically burpees that involve going over a barbell. We're trying to be very direct about what we want. So if it says bar facing burpee, that is a bar facing burpee. You will be perpendicular to the barbell when you do your burpee, 2-footed hop over the bar, turn around, and be perpendicular again. That's a bar facing burpee. Lateral burpee, same thing. It will specify a lateral burpee over the barbell, and that one, you're parallel to the bar. Those are typically written if we want them to be faster. Bar facing burpee slows things down a little bit. Now in between is a burpee over the bar, or a bar over burpee. That implies you're going to be going over the barbell, but we don't care how you do it. If you want to face the bar when you're on the other end, if you want to be lateral to the bar, that's your choice. So it's kind of a free rein movement. So hopefully that makes a little bit more sense to you guys. It's kind of like cleans, right? We'll specify a power clean or a squat clean if that's what we want. Otherwise, we may just use a clean in general, something along those lines. If you have questions, ask. What I will tell you is, in the class scenario, default to the coaches. Sometimes we tweak things and make changes on the fly based on equipment availability or how people are moving in the warm-ups, stuff like that. And so if you're not sure and the coach says one thing, it's okay to ask, but if they stick to it, stay with it, okay? Again, if it's not a benchmark workout, it's not that big of a deal. And then we're just gonna make sure we're consistent through the class. So if the AM classes do one thing, we're gonna try to stay consistent for the PM classes so that they end up meeting the same stimulus and hitting the same workout as well. And again, results are comparable. If it's a benchmark, we're going to make sure that the standards are hit. So hopefully that clarifies things. Oh, I want to talk substitutions, typical substitutions. If you see a 400-meter run, we assume that's about a 2-minute set of work. A 200-meter run, a minute set of work. So if we end up on the bike equivalent, we've figured out that 24 cals for guys and 20 cals for ladies is a roughly similar equivalent to a 400 or 200 meter run. Now that's on the RX standard, okay? So again, it's scaled and modified. So now using that, the coach might tell you, hey, what I want you to do is in your first round of work, you're gonna bike for 2 minutes hard or whatever, 80% effort. And then whatever calorie count you get during that time, that's what you're gonna maintain throughout. We've done it this way forever, but I don't know if I've ever been clear about what we're doing there. So again, if we have 400 meter runs programmed, but we can't do them because, like yesterday, it's pouring rain, so we're going to probably use assault bikes instead, let's say. We're going to assume 24 or 20 calories for that, but not everyone's going to be able to maintain that stimulus. It might take someone 4 minutes to do 20 calories, and now you've doubled that time. So just like we would scale you to a 200 meter run if you can't finish 400 in the same amount of time, it's the same with the bike. So again, hopefully we're clarifying that. For a row, 500 meters on a rower is roughly the equivalent in time and effort to 400 meters of running. 250 meters on the rower, 200 meters of running, right? So you got the idea. 1,600 meters a mile is going to be a 2K row, 2,000 meter row, and such and so forth. So again, if you have questions, feel free to ask, make sure it's clear. And again, just default to the coach. We might sometimes make some tweaks to what we're asking you to do and how we recommend it, and that's totally cool. We're going to be cool with that. All right, that's what I got. Those were the frequently asked questions. Stay on the lookout for more information about the 800 gram challenge. There's a lot of buzz and interest. I'm going to keep coming at you with more information on that. We'll get you all signed up. We're going to have a lot of fun. Have a great Tuesday. Keep getting after it. We'll talk to you later.